Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to my Epic 7 account overview. I'll be going over mainly my units and my progress in the game, and things of that nature. But before we get started, I just want to remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do play Epic 7, please let me know what is your favorite unit in the game. Yeah, so let's get started. Those of you who are already familiar with Epic 7, you can freely skip this section, but I just want to go over for anybody who may be new to Epic 7, what is Epic 7? And by the way, this video is not sponsored at all. I just want to give a quick brief overview about what Epic 7 is. It's essentially a gacha game. It's very fun. There is a lot of PvP content. That's probably the most popular thing, where you have guild wars as well as our RTA matches and arena battles. I will be having a Guild War battle video uploaded along with this one. So please check that out if you're interested to see how the combat system is in this game. It's turn-based and it's a lot of fun. And the animations are probably the biggest what sold me into this game, and like the characters and their storylines. It's very interesting. But yeah, let's get into this account overview. All right, so to start things off, this is my account. I am Challenger 5 and Arena. I haven't done my placement yet for World Arena, aka RTA, but I placed Masters last season, and oh, I should probably preface to say that I've only been playing the game for probably 8 months now, probably 9 months now. I started literally this year, actually, in May, I think. Probably towards the end of May is when I started playing this game. I'm a part of a Discord with a group of friends, and they were all like, "Oh, join Epic 7. It's a lot of fun. You will enjoy it." I was very skeptical at first because at that time I was very big on Genshin, and I now am very big on Epic 7. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And my favorite unit in the game is, or favorite top three favorite units are right here. Mediator Kawerik, Basar, Solitaria of the Snow. I also really like Solitaria of the Snow idol animation, which is why she's probably one of my favorite units. It's just because her in the lobby, she's so adorable. Um, and then Mediator Kawerik, Basar, probably top 10 best Husbandos in this game, in my opinion. But yeah. Um, I want to go ahead and get into my units, which is kind of like the main part of this game, building units, which is something that I really enjoy doing. Like building out heroes, farming for materials, trying to get the right gear for these heroes. And also, like I said, I've only been playing the game for probably like little less. It hasn't even been a full year yet that I've been playing Epic 7. So some of my units aren't necessarily built as like their ideal way they should be built, but it's very realistic for the everyday player who probably is just starting out in the game. Getting these kind of stats in probably 5 to 6 to a year of playing this game are very more realistic. I know there are a lot of guys and a lot of different videos out there, and it might seem very intimidating or disappointing where your gear and stuff doesn't roll or doesn't go in the right way of like these players that have been playing for like 3 years. It is okay. This game is very much a time-consuming game, as in the sense that it just takes time to build up a hero base and things of that nature. So I'm just going to start by CP because I think that's just the easiest thing to do. And to start things off, we have Ran. Oh, I'm going to preface, I might say some names incorrectly. I'm going to apologize in advance. I am not that great on pronouncing different things, but yeah. To start things off, this is my Ran. He's kind of slow. To from most people's brands are probably built around like 300 speed with similar stats, but that's kind of like some insane gear to have. But I really like how he's built. He's actually on my guild defense. Um, I rarely use him in like RTA. I didn't use him that much in RTA, um, but he is a really good opener because, and just because of his S3. Um, his S2 in combination with his S3. Um, I personally Uh, Aside of Guild War battles, I don't use it that much. I really feel like he's not at a high enough speed. In the future, I'd like to get him to be a lot higher speed, around 300, as close to 300 as possible, so I can actually use him as a speed contester, which is kind of like what he's supposed to be, more so like a utility speed contester in a way that still does damage. But I always pair him off with the next unit being Samurai Iseria. I really love her. She's a lot of fun. I really love her whole bomb mechanic and making bombs like actually usable and like cool. Um, this is her build. Her speed is kind of slow. Ideally, at first Samurai Iseria, you want her to have like 240 speed so that when it comes to her self CR push, yeah, you want her to make sure that she actually takes the next turn after your initiator. And 240 speed is a pretty good speed to be at, so that that 15% CR push actually gets her to that to be the next person to go. But for my level as a Masters player or whatnot, this isn't too bad. I haven't really had any issues. I do want to get her on immunity because I can't really use her much in RTA because she can get stun locked or, you know, just silenced because Angel of Light is very prevalent in RTA, and that can kind of really just mess up the whole, just everything for her in her turn. But yeah, that's my Samurai Iseria. Another unit I really enjoy is Milim, who is a collab hero. Just a side note, Epic 7 likes to do different collabs here and there, and these are one of their most recent collabs they did was the time I was reincarnated with the slime. So if you're very big into anime, some of these heroes may look familiar because they are actually from the said anime. But like I said, I've only been playing for a little less than a year, so I don't necessarily have um, the units from what other collab was there? I think it was a Guilty Gear collab, which I don't think that's an anime, but I don't have any units from or any units from that line like Dizzy and stuff. But anyway, here's my Milim. She's actually a pretty good speed. Like I think Milim's probably like pretty well built. Uh, I would probably want her to have like 4K attack. I have a lot of defense in one of these pieces of gear. Yeah, this isn't necessarily ideal, but it does give a little bit of survivability. Um, I would like to get her attack to be over 4K, and also her crit damage could also be a little higher. But for this right now, she actually works really well. She's never really failed me that much. I need to mola her more because her S3, I definitely need to at least get that one turn cooldown. Um, and I know that when I don't mola, the only thing I really focused when it came to mola was molaing her S2 so that I would never get RNG and have to deal with her not removing stealth or not activating Dragon's Eye, which is a very important part of her kit. And to continue things off, I haven't actually used her in RTA because she wasn't built during the last RTA season, but I'm very excited to use her during this RTA season. So I really need to get her fully mola'd so that I can actually be successful in using her in that. Now, my next unit is Landy, and I have her on Bloodstone, which isn't necessarily ideal unless you have her on counter set, but I have her on Bloodstone just because of the fact that I use her in a lot of PvE stuff as well as PvP stuff. Um, and she's just a lot of fun. I think she's a very well designed unit. She's very strong. Um, and this is her stats. I was kind of her defense and HP could be a lot higher so that she's a little bit more bulkier. I wasn't around for Guide and Light, so I don't have that artifact, which is probably more idea, especially for this build because she is relatively on the squishier side. Even with that amount of HP, she is still kind of squishy, and it's also very hard to like protect her if she isn't, necessarily going fast because she's very easy to get focused down and gotten rid of if she isn't on Guiding Light. So hopefully the Cerise banner rerun happens so that I can actually get Guiding Light. So I have my Powder of Knowledge and stuff saved up because I really want to get Guiding Light so I could put that on her. But I've also considered rebuilding her to counter immunity and just having her on Bloodstone since I already use that artifact on her for so much. I do have some pretty decent counter set gear, but not enough to get her to have a high enough crit chance that I would actually like the build. So I have to farm Banshee some more and get some better gear. This is my Vivian. She is only used for PvE. I use her for Banshee, and that's about it. That's really all she does. Here's my Basar, one of my favorite units. He's actually my selective summon. He's the first unit that I started off with. There's probably way better options, but he was a monster in PvP. Um, I have him on a higher speed build with okay effectiveness. It could be a lot higher. He has a lot of defense, and all of that is due to this ring. This is one of my fastest rings that I have. Actually, no, it's not. I think the fastest ring I have is on my Ran. Yeah, this is my fastest ring. But back to Basar. Uh, he basically just has all of my highest speed gear for the most part that I just have to spare. Um, my 19 speed stuff. I don't really think I've ever broke 20 speed on a gear item. I feel like if you would like to actually see more so the individual gear pieces of certain units, please let me know in the comment section. I kind of forgot about that. I'll actually start doing that now. But yeah, um, this is how he built. He should be built a little faster. I do know people who built their Basars to be a little more slower and high effectiveness with good bulk, just to go after certain initiators like Maid Chloe to like counter Maid Chloe and things of that nature. But I kind of just use him mostly for Guild War offense in situations where I see like either Fallen CC or situations where I have to deal, or it just I want to set up for Iseria, but I also don't want to bring Ran. Like if they have a Violet, for example, I wouldn't want to bring Ran into a Violet because that's just like bait for Violet, and I don't want to have to do that. But yes, to continue on, we have Remnant Violet, who is on Lifesteal Pin. He could have a lot higher attack. I know there are people who build their Remnant Violets even on like Lifesteal Pin builds with like 4K attack. I don't have any of his imprints for crit chance, which would really help a lot with gearing. I do think I am over cap with crit chance though. But yeah, because I think I initially I had a different pin piece on him, but this rolled pretty well in crit chance and speed, and I was just like, well, I like him to be a little bit more faster while also having 100% crit chance, because having your DPS not crit is the worst and most tilting thing to see, especially if your DPS is like has like a 97% crit rate and you somehow hit that 3% chance of not critting and not killing somebody and then losing the match altogether. It's gonna be very frustrating. But yeah, here's my Remnant Violet, who's I guess I can show you his gear just quickly. Uh, I think when it comes to making him, building him to be a little bit better, I think it would necessarily be just getting his attack higher. And I think his speed is fine. Get his attack higher. I don't really know if I need him to have that much high HP. I just know a lot of lifesteal units tend to have a lot more bulk to them, but his defense is extremely low. Falconer Kluri isn't necessarily built for PvP by any means. She is like a full PvE unit. I use her for Banshee. I am actually working towards having or making a Banshee one-shot team because I have Straze. But for now, F. Clary just does her job on Banshee, being the tank and whatnot, and defense breaking. So that's very much to that. Spectene, she was actually my selective ML summons. When they had that, I did not pick RB. I kind of sometimes think I wish I could go back in time and pick RB, but I saw Spectene's skin actually, and I was like, this is such a beautiful skin. I want this. I still haven't brought myself to Whale and buy the skin pack to buy it. I am just gonna hold out for however long it takes me to get the skin tickets to buy it for free. But yeah, this is her build. I think she has pretty good attack. She could probably have a lot more HP and defense. She has 100% crit rate, and I got her that by essentially lowering her crit damage, which probably is an idea. Yeah, I gave her like this piece that gave her 100% crit rate, but ideally you probably want her to have at least 250 crit damage. Um, but yeah, so these are her pieces. I put her on lifesteal. This is a pretty crappy piece, and it's probably the only reason why I have like a pretty decent attack. I don't know. I don't really, I really dislike this piece and how it rolled. Uh, I think if it rolled more into critical hit chance, I would be able to give her the other immunity chest piece I have that rolls really high in crit damage. But she would have like 86 or so percent crit rate, which I don't like that. Units not critting is so tilting, especially your DPS units. I also need to plus 30 this at some point, but it's a progress and I'm working on it. Here's my Mediator Kawerik. Yes, I am fully aware that he only has a speed set and he has this like random piece, but to get him these stats that I was kind of like going for, I really wanted him to have like a lot of HP while also doing having like I guess 100% crit rate and some crit damage. I'm gonna change that build at some point. I'm gonna like move him to have the same amount of HP, have a lot higher defense, and be around 240 speed. Since um, a lot of people build their Mediator Calrics to be really fast, mine is kind of almost like a troll build. I don't know, but he gets the job done. He is really great into AOL. He was actually the first Moonlight I ever got in this game. I think roughly I started playing. I started playing right when Little Queen Charlotte was on the Mystic rotation banner, and then immediately I saw that Mediator Kawerik was next, and I was like, I want that guy. And I used all of my mystics. I also spent a little bit of money, but we won't talk about that, on trying to get him. And that was when he like was not meta. He didn't have his buffs in yet. He was really bad. But yeah, it. But it was like a decision that I made because I really wanted the character. And now look at him. He's very OP now. It's probably like one of the top units, especially with dealing with countering things like AOL and a lot of debuffers because of his kit. Here's Closer Charles. Yes, I know this is not in any way how you would want your Closer Charles to be built. I am. In no way would you want your Closer Charles to be this slow. In no way would you want to go for if you have Closer Charles and you're trying to figure out how to build him fast, so he actually does something. Build him as an opener because he does give yes, he does give an attack up. So, and I think ideally you want him to be around like 270 speed. I probably would never. I did use him in RTA last season one time with him and Straze, and I honestly just got lucky because of the fact that I picked those two units last because they didn't pick any speed contesters, and then I just banned whatever speed contester that they had, and I was able to kind of like use I think I used ran Iseria and then them two with somebody else, and I had like probably Basar as well to then like CR pushback or I don't know whatever it worked out. I used them only for like one match in RTA, and I somehow ended up winning that. In no way should I be winning any RTA matches with these stats. He's like really slow, but he used to be on my guild defense, and actually, he still is on my guild defense, and I use him kind of like as like intimidating factor. My team one guild defense is literally Ran Iseria Closer Charles, full setup to look like it's a cleave team with that's super fast, and in actuality, they're not fast at all. So if you do actually go up against my guild, uh, I, it, I just gave you a little bit of a boost because my team is not that intimidating whatsoever. Um, Adventure Ross, I use him for uh, PVE stuff only, like the Abyss and things of that nature. I'm actually using him in the side story currently, which is why he has this artifact, just so I can get that extra experience for penguins and stuff. Typically, he's on this. Typically, this is what the artifact that I have him on, for the most part. But yeah, this is by Straze, also another unit that isn't built uh, as how you should build them. Straze is very slow, which is why I have to pair him up with somebody that can CR push or something of that nature because of how slow he is. But when he does take his turn, he does do his job and one shot whatever tank and stuff that he needs to one shot with his S3. Um, he used to be on my guild defense. I had a team set up where it was Basar, Mediator Kawerik, and Straze, and essentially Basar goes, push back. Uh, Mediator Kawerik would grant immunity and attack up, and then Straze will hopefully one-shot something that they were using. But it was not working out well, obviously, because of how slow a lot of those units are, and I changed my team to defense to something else. Um, I think that's all for Straze. I mean, oh, and no, this is like what his gear. I don't even remember. I don't think I did Adventure Ross, but he has like PvE gear, so it's not really that impressive. This stuff also isn't really that impressive. It's kind of whatever I could throw on him to like use him. Uh, Here's my Tempest Surin. I think she's okay. I mean, she could use a lot higher attack. I rarely use her ever in PvP situations. She kind of fell off because people, I guess, now know how to deal with T-Surin, so like people don't really have to really worry about her. She's the only hero that I have at the moment built that can use Alexa Basket, so that's why it's on her. But yeah, that's everything about T-Surin. It's not really anything special. Uh, I use her sometimes on Guild Wars offense, but other than that, this is my Taranor Guard. He is also only used for PvE stuff. I built him purely to do the Abyss stuff. I do have a raised set that I would put him on, but for um, for the sake of doing certain PvE contents, I just have him on this destruction set just because I like to have that raised set to be free and available to use for like any unit that I need for some type of PvE content. But yeah, this is just his stuff. Pretty minimal gear. He could have a lot higher crit damage, a lot higher attack, and things of that nature. This is my Krau. Actually, Krau was my favorite unit. I mean, he still is. He's still up there with like best husbandos because, like, I mean, look at that face. But here's his build. He has a good bit of HP. He's kind of slow. I would like him to be around like 200 speed at least, ideally. And to get his effect res, to have like 100 effect res, I honestly feel like I have a better chest piece that can get him that. Now that I think about it. But I lose out on this like 20% HP, but I don't know. I have to think about it. But yeah, here's this gear. Some of this is like free gear. This piece has a lot of attack percent in it, which is kind of a wasted stat. It is a wasted stat on Krau. Ideally, if this piece was like high rolled into like speed stat here and not like attack percent, it would have been like perfect. But you know, you work with what you got. And then he has like this piece, which it's just that 8 speed is kind of why I have it on here, is because it's my I have very little HP percent rings that have like high speed to them or decent speed to them and other like more tank DPS styles, but ideally I don't think these flat health, flat defense is ideal or that really that good. And then these are like boots from the shop, so we have Seaside Bellona. I use her only for Wyvern, and I sometimes use her for offensive PvE stuff or PvP stuff if I know that, uh, like, I know that she could serve a purpose there, or can't be just like target down or focus, and I'll just switch out to her artifact. Even though it's not fully maxed, I did not whale by any means to try to get a fully maxed Rengar special drink, but yeah, this is her gear. I typically don't use it for PvP purely because one, she's not fully bulleted. Two, she doesn't have a 100% crit rate, which can be very tilting seeing her not crit so many times. Then we have Carrot, who actually carried me to Masters, literally with this gear. Yes, she is. has like kind of two off pieces, but it was really just to get her to have this closest that she could use a lot more HP. That's the only thing. She really needs to be a lot more bulkier. Probably have around like 14k HP and things of that nature. Couldn't really get to that stat with this, but honestly, Kara is such a strong unit, or was really such a strong unit. I think she still is for the most part. Maybe, maybe not. Um, and really just like pulled through and like carried me to Masters when I did it last. Oh, excuse me, when I did it last season. Um, but yeah, she's a lot of fun. General Purrgis, I use him for Wyvern. That's about it. I won't really go. Oh, Carrot's Gear. This is it. Not really anything special. I didn't go over Bellona's gear just because her gear is PvE oriented, and the same for General Purrgis, his PvE gear, and it's not really something special to it. Um, Yufine, I built her purely for the new light expedition. That is all that she is used for me to like help out light expeditions. I don't use her for anything else. Same goes for Cermia, both PvE units. I don't use them for anything other than PvE stuff. And that's just that. Ruele, here's my Ruele. She has an incorrect gear piece on. I know she has a wrong piece of gear on because her HP should not be this low. I think this is the wrong. Oh, this is definitely the wrong sword. Actually, definitely, this is definitely somebody else has her sword. I don't know who does. I'm so glad I saw that because that is her HP is way too low. Um, yeah, this is not the sword that she initially had. I actually don't know what unit has her actual sword because she had like 20k HP and I did some Abyss stuff, so I was like switching gear around and I clearly gave her the wrong piece of gear. She also was a little bit faster. But yeah, so her stats aren't actually the way they're supposed to be. Uh, but this is my Ruel. I'll show her other gear pieces that are correct. But this is what she has. Um, Ideally, I need to plus 30 this as well. This is my Iseria. She's only used for PvE stuff. Yeah, just pair up with Tamarinne down here, which I'll go into. Sigret, another PvE unit. Nothing really special to her. Most of this is like free gear from either getting it from whatever that thing is called that you do and your guild. Cannot remember what it's called for the life of me, but yeah, regular PvE stuff. Inferno Khawzu, I love this unit. A lot of fun, very interactive. I like to think that his stats are pretty decent. The only like his attack, his defense, HP is actually like really good. But obviously, there's always a downside. I would want him to be a lot faster, probably around like 230 speed, 240 speed, ideally, so that he actually does CR push himself past any openers that try to debuff or use any AoE kind of thing. Um, but yeah, but at this speed, at the level that I play in, low masters, things of that nature, he serves his purpose. He served his purpose pretty well, and he does his job. Ravi, another PVE unit. I only use it for Hell Raid. That's the only thing I use it for actually is Hell Raid and nothing else. Um, so yeah, these are her stats. Um, yeah, Emilia, another unit that I really like. This is a collab unit. From the anime. Cannot remember what the anime name is. If it if it isn't a shocker, I don't really watch that much anime. I cannot remember where she's from, but I ideally would like her to have like 4 more speed. Like I really would like to get her a better. Don't know why. I have no idea who this was for, as why it was. I would roll that for attack percent, but I would like to get her a better sword that gives her the extra 4 speed that I would want on her. And if she had that, then her stats would basically be the way I want her to be. 240 speed. Since she's built to be fast, she's not going to have that much health. I guess her defense could be a little higher. Her effect resistance is as high as it's going to really be, making her really fast and having decent, I guess, bulk. But yeah, I'll go over her other pieces. Some of these are free pieces. Once again, that flight attack. Uh, yeah, and these pieces. So yeah. Oh, I didn't show you guys my Inferno Khawzu pieces. Here we go. I'm trying to just show you guys, I guess, my like PvP units mostly and their gear pieces, because I think that's a little bit more important than the PvE unit gear pieces. Here's my Solitaria of the Snow. I literally use her whenever I see an SSB, and that's it. I do love her design. I think it's very adorable. I love the pastels. But yeah, she could be a lot faster, ideally. Like a lot faster, probably around like 280 speed, but I only have so much speed gear to go around, so I kind of just use her for her passive, wherever that passive effect is. Oh, here it is. That basically makes it so units can't gain focus. So I do break her into Violet whenever I have a team that can keep her alive, because since her S1 is AoE, she can easily trigger a dual attack. But if I know that the Violet's going to die in 1 to 2 to 3 turns, then I kind of bring her there just so that Violet doesn't get out of hand. Then we have Tamarinne. She is also a PvE unit. I'm using her in the side story, that's why she gets this. But yeah, this is pretty. These are pretty much your ideal stats for a Tamarinne. You just throw on whatever gear you have on her, and she'll do her job. Best PvE unit in the game, by the way. My Lady Clarissa, I typically give her really fast gear when I'm using her for the Abyss, but because, once again, I only have so much speed gear, this is what I use for the Expedition. The Brutal Ferris Expedition, this is basically her stats for that, because she doesn't really need to be that fast to do the Ferris cheese to get to basically solo Brutal Ferris. Okay. Here's my Charlotte. I actually don't use her at all. And I think her gear is actually pretty decent and her stats are pretty decent. I guess I would want her to have at least probably like 300 crit damage and like 3k attack. Like I'm very close to getting that. While also still having decent like HP and defense. Her speed isn't really much of an issue because she does CR push herself. Yes, with this, whenever she's attacked, I only used her once. She did solo in one RTA match for me, which was pretty impressive, um, which is why I have her on lifesteal. But she isn't that MOA that much, which is why I don't use her that much. And I haven't really had an opportunity to ever use her. I really just haven't. I don't really know when to pick her. And now that I have Milim, I probably will never pick her if I'm going to use her, because I would use her as a way to deal with Landy. And now I have Milim, and so I don't really need Charlotte for that. I guess she could be like a backup, so there's 2 people to ban, but for the most part, I just don't use Charlotte ever. And then we got Montmorancy. She's only using Hell Raid. She's not even 6-starred. All-rounder Wanda is getting buffs, and I am experimenting with gear and builds. This isn't necessarily how I would want her to be built, but I had this like pin set piece as well as from the shop, and I kind of just wanted to throw it on somebody. I didn't know who to give it to, so I gave it to her. I will be 6-starring her at some point for like a fun unit to like showcase in Guild Wars, because I think she has an amazing design and I would like to use her more. But not with this build. I definitely need to farm up some gear for her. Ray, love Ray. think he, once again, top 10 Ray, Husbando's Ray is definitely up there. Probably was initially one of my favorite units when I first saw him, but I just don't use him for anything. I use him for Banshee, and that's about it, which is why he's only 5-starred and not 6-starred. He's also not really mullet at all, so yeah. Um, Adin, PvE, not even PvE unit. I'm only building her friendship. She only has gear because since she is the new, I guess, main character to the latest story they added to the game. Essentially, this is just me using her to build her friendship up because it seems like there's a lot of quests that requires you to have a friendship up. And I'll probably 6-star her at some point, but that will be later on in the line. Here's my Beilan, who I literally got last week. I pulled her as my free covenant. This is her gear. I kind of like threw on a bunch of the counter stuff that I had. She is very slow, so if she doesn't counter, she's kind of useless. Um, but hopefully, with her having counter set on with a 30% chance, while also having Elbrus for another 15% chance to counterattack, uh, if being hit by an ally or allies being hit. Hopefully, she actually counters because she's a lot of fun if she does do her job, but it's very RNG. I really don't like RNG heroes. They make me paranoid when they don't, counter or do their job. Furious is only used for Wyvern, and that's it. Um, Roana, I used her when SSB was prevalent, and also Ram when everywhere you saw Rams everywhere. Not Rams, Rims. Everywhere you saw Rims everywhere. I used her for that. Her S2 is fully mullied. I I don't think I've ever used her in RT. Actually, I did. I would draft her in RTA whenever somebody would pick an SSB, and basically forcing them to ban that. But aside from that, I don't really use her that much, other than I guess some PVE content. And that is all of my built heroes. Heroes that I do plan to build in the future that I'm looking forward to building. Um, I recently pulled C. Armin. I really want to build her. I think C. Armin is an amazing knight, and I really think that when it comes to doing RTA this season, C. Armin probably will work wonders for me. I never built. Okay, I never built Rem. I just wasn't a fan of the unit. I think it's because I got so irritated by her that um, I just never built her, and I probably would give her all of Bellion's gear. So like everything that if I were to build her, everything that my Bellion has, I would just give it to Rem, and I think it would probably. Well, actually, no. I would probably want a lot higher crit rate, but I would have to figure that out. Um, Politis also, I used to have gear on her, but I haven't 6-star her, and I want to 6-star her and like actually give her her own gear, which is why she doesn't have any gear at the moment. Very good unit for competitive, so I will probably build her at some point. Um, I recently pulled F10A, it has now says she's on banner. I will build her probably during like a free and unequip just to like test her out and just to see, probably for like Guild War offense. Rimuru I'm definitely gonna have to build because Rimuru is a very strong and a very good unit, and any unit that you can just first pick is OP. Um, so I'll probably build them at some point, but I just need the Molagora to do so. I just need the Mola. Um, and yeah, other than that, I think that's everything. I probably have some units in the waiting room that I'm looking forward to building in the future that I have gotten. And let's see, let's look at the waiting room. Let's see. Right. Holiday Yuffie, and I kind of want to build at some point. I have Spec Says 2, actually. I couldn't get Angel of Light, and I just got Spec Says twice. That's kind of was my luck. Um, and yeah, I think that's everything. I might build a Slash and Cartuja at some point for a show build, as well as Watcher's Shuri. But for the most part, I think those are all really my units. And because it is the start of a new day, I guess I'll end this video off with a pool. Maybe we'll get some recording luck. Maybe. Oh, maybe it's a 5-star. That would be awesome. Oh, okay, it's not. But but yeah, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, thanks. Bye.